What's up guys, welcome back to yet again another video, and today's video I'm going to do another tier list. Now this tier list is the one that I'm the most excited for. I've always wanted to do this and this is going to be pretty fun. I'm doing a Michael Jackson tier list. Now if you guys already know, I'm a big Michael Jackson fiend. As you guys can probably already see on my TikTok, I've done lots of videos on him already. So I decided that I'm going to do a pretty interesting task of actually ranking Michael Jackson this time. But this is not going to be like just a regular one video. I'm actually going to do 3 videos of this. So the first one I'm going to do is I'm actually going to do ranking every single Michael Jackson album. The second one I'm going to do ranking every single music video of his. And the third one I'm going to do the difficult task of ranking all of his songs. Now this is just the first part. Now, as you guys can see on the screen right here, I have all his albums. Well, pretty much a fair number of them. I got, I would say 12 of them on here. Now, we're going to do this list, guys. And if you guys enjoy my content, guys, please like and subscribe. That would be very much appreciated. And guys, put in the comments down below what next tier list video you guys want me to do. I'm probably going to do more artists, or I'll probably do something, whatever you guys want to do. So guys, just let me know whatever video you guys want me to do next and I'll do it. So let's get into today's tier list today. All right, guys, you guys probably already know the drill of how this works already. As you guys can see, I have the tier list pulled up right here. I got S, A, B, C, and D tier on this list. And I got pretty much all of his albums. Well, not just the top 6 that everyone knows about. I even included the Michael album and the Escape album, the posthumous albums. And as you guys can see, I also pulled up his former Motown solo albums as well. Now, originally, I had to listen to those 2 albums before doing this list so I can have a pretty fair ranking on them. And I think I have a pretty fair ranking on these 4 albums. So we're just going to do it, guys. We're going to go through this list and we're just going to see how this goes. So let's get started. So the first album that we got here is the Ben album. The Ben album was pretty interesting. His voice sounded really miraculous on this album. I mean, his voice sounded great on every single album in general. And this album was pretty straight. I'm going to give it a solid C tier ranking. It was, some of the songs on there were kind of forgettable a little bit, but some of the songs I actually really did enjoy. Now, what are the songs that come to mind on this album? Of course, the title track, Ben, of course. And there were a couple other songs that were pretty nice. There was The Greatest Show on Earth. There was People Make the World Go Around. What Goes Around Comes Around. That's another really good song I really did enjoy. Now, I put it in C tier because it's not like over dramatically amazing, but trust me, there's going to be bigger, better albums coming up eventually on this list soon. So we're just going to continue going. Now, next up, we got Blood on the Dance Floor, History in the Mix from 1997. This album, it's not really an album, it's a remix album, and there's only 5 new songs on there. Well, 4 out of the 5 are actually pretty good, and the rest are just remixes, which I never heard, and I don't think I'm ever going to hear them. So I will probably rank this in the same tier as Ben. I might just say C, maybe like a C minus or something. I really don't care about this album in general, honestly, that much. But honestly, it's a pretty good record. I'll probably listen to it maybe again, just those 5 songs. But anyways, the next album has a lot of controversies around it, and it's pretty intensing. And that is the Michael album from 2010. Now, where do I start? This album is just wow. First of all, I will say though, I like the songs on the album in general, but I have a couple issues with this album. Now, the one main issue that everyone has the problems with is the 3 fake songs on that album, which are Keep Your Head Up, Monster, and Breaking News. Those are not even Michael singing those tracks. I do not know what the estate was even thinking trying to put those freaking songs on that album. So they were sung by this guy, what's his name? Jason Malachi or something? Yeah, whatever the guy's name is. They really should not have done that. And also another problem that I have with this album is that the album kind of sounds rushed. It doesn't sound very finished. Like a lot of these songs don't sound like they kind of align together. They're just remixes of songs that he never released between 1982 and 2001, I'm pretty sure. So yeah, but I still like the songs, but if I'm going to be a really serious tier of where I'm going to put this, I'm going to have to put this in D tier, only because of the Jackson Estate of what they did with this album. The album just sounds so sloppy, it sounds too rushed, and it just doesn't sound right at any form. That's the main problem I have with this album in general. And it sounds like the biggest cash grab in history with those 3 fake songs. Like, basically the entire Michael album in general is just a whole cash grab. But speaking of which, the Escape album is the same thing. The Escape album is also another cash grab album, in my honest opinion. But the thing that's different with this album is that it sounds, unlike the Michael album where it sounds unfinished, the Escape album sounds finished. Like, each and every song sounds like it's properly mixed, and it's actually produced by people that Michael actually worked with, like Ellie Reed, Timbaland, and Rodney Jerkins also plays a role in this, Dark Child, if you guys know what I'm talking about. And now the songs that really jump out to me on this album that pretty much everyone already knows is, of course, the songs Love Never Felt So Good, Chicago, which I'm pretty sure all of you, the youngins out there, already know what that song is, and Slave to the Rhythm, Escape as well, I guess. And yeah, the album's cool. I like the album Escape, so I'm probably gonna rank it C tier, not any higher, because like I said before, just like the Michael album, it's another cash grab album in my opinion, because you know how the freaking Estate is, trying to remix his songs just to freaking make them sound like new material. I don't really approve it like that, but I still like the songs anyway, so I'm just gonna rank it here. All right, next album we got is History from 1995. Well, the full title of the album is His Story, Past, Present, and Future, Book 1. Now, it's basically a 2-disc album. The first disc is just a compilation of his greatest hits, and the second disc is his new material. And originally, I had a few issues listening to this album at first. I thought this album sounded really aggressive and dark, because a lot of the songs were talking about personal things in his life that he was struggling with, like the tabloids, the child molestation trial, which was an absolute mess, for crying out loud. And to me, I do not think Michael Jackson was guilty. He was not, trust me. And in my opinion, a lot of the songs on here actually jump out at me as fantastic bangers, though. Like, for example, They Don't Care About Us, Scream with his sister Janet Jackson, of course, you know. And what else was there? Earth Song, very popular song talking about the planet. What else are the songs? You Are Not Alone. I love that song so much, of course. And yeah, I mean, History in general, I went back to the album a couple of times, and I still agree that's a pretty aggressive album. But at the same time, I feel like it plays a purpose. So I'm probably going to rank it B tier. I say B tier for this album. Yeah, so yeah, I'm going to say B tier. Now, next album is Dangerous. Woo! This album's fantastic. Now we're finally getting into some of the really fantastic albums. And yeah, what was I gonna say for this album? The Dangerous album, a lot of fantastic bangers on this record, of course. They have, what's the songs? I mean, I'm probably not just gonna say the songs. I'm gonna say about my feelings of the album in general. The Dangerous album, I'm going to put it in A tier, baby. This album is fantastic. I actually really did enjoy listening to it. I think I really resonated towards this album, I think towards last year with a couple of the songs. This album came out in 1991. But I don't really want to say too much about Dangerous at the moment, because this album has, all I can say is that it's a really classic sound, lots of R&B, a lot of raw emotions, and I would say the second half of the album is really emotional, and the first half is more energetic and more hip-hop related type of thing, with like songs like Can't Let Her Get Away, Remember the Time, and all that stuff. It feels like a very hip-hop album in the first half, but the second half is really raw and emotional. And I will say, though, I know that you're probably going to be overwhelmed by what I'm going to say, but this album feels really overly long, in my opinion, because most of the songs on this album are like around 6 minutes. Like, I know many people today probably are like, why would you want to listen to a 6-minute track? Like, unless you're someone who has the patience to listen to a 6-minute track like me, then maybe you probably won't have no issue with that. but it's cool. I'm happy with this ranking of Dangerous in A tier. Now, next up is Got to Be There. Now, Got to Be There, at first, I was going to put this album at B tier, but I might have to put it in C tier, unfortunately. Like a high C, like a C plus, okay? This was his very first solo album during Motown in 1972. And first of all, I have to comment, his voice. His voice is fantastic on this album, just like with the Ben album. It's just fantastic. But I like this album more than Ben because at first, when I first listened to this album last night, at first I was like, I probably won't like it that much. But surprisingly, when the album started, I didn't find the album half bad, honestly. But that wasn't until I got to the second half. That's when the album started to die off. But the first half was fantastic. I really did love the first half, especially with the songs like Got to Be There, I Want to Be Where You Are, Ain't No Sunshine, Rockin' Robin. Like, you probably already know that track. But, but I would say a solid C tier for Got to Be There. Now, next up is Invincible. Yeah, Invincible, I have a couple things I want to say about this album first. Invincible, if you probably would have asked me about this album maybe like 7 years ago or something, I probably would have never really listened to this album at all. Like, the only song on this album that really jumped out at me at the time was You Rock My World at the time. But I've listened to this album back in 2022 when Heaven Can Wait blew up on TikTok, and I started listening to the whole album, and I was like, oh, wow, this album's pretty awesome. And there was a while where this album actually started to become one of my favorite Michael Jackson albums for a while. And, but over time, the album started to slowly go downhill, and now I really don't want to say this about Invincible, but sadly, I can safe to say it probably is his worst album out of the big six, unfortunately. Now, the main reason why I say that is because unlike all his other albums, all the way from Off the Wall to History, there really is no like real bangers on this album. There really is nothing on here where like there's nothing really on this album that says like only Michael Jackson could have actually came out with those songs, really. Because on this album, a lot of these songs kind of sound like a lot of the songs on this album kind of remind me of NSYNC, the Backstreet Boys, Destiny's Child in some sort of form, like any boy band from the late 90s, early 2000s. I mean, I kind of get that's where music was heading at the time, but I have a few issues with that, especially with it being Michael Jackson, the king of pop, like the king of like motivation, and like he like pioneering songs and make them sound like nothing that no one's ever been able to do before. Like that's kind of hurts Invincible a little bit. But I will say though, I really did enjoy this record back in the day, and I'm not going to be completely harsh on it like many people honestly would be. So I'm going to put Invincible at B tier, like maybe a high B, maybe a B plus, or probably not. I mean, it's not as good as History because History has memorable bangers on it. But Invincible, I still enjoyed the album, but it feels right to actually rank this album as his at last place of all his other best albums. And I kind of feel bad for that, but honestly, it feels like it's the only right thing to do. So I'll just let it slide. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we're finally getting to the bangers, guys. The freaking bangers, guys. We're getting to pretty easily some of his best works ever, the top 3 albums. I mean, his first 3. And first, we're going to move on with his first solo studio album from 1979 that many people are very familiar with, and that is Off the Wall. This album is so much fun. If you guys are someone who's like me who loves to dance to music and you just want to get up and move, this is the album to go to, ladies and gentlemen. Off the Wall is the right album to go to, guys. This album's going to S tier. I don't care. I freaking don't give a shit. This album is so fun. And I feel like this is the only album, in my opinion, where Michael actually sounded really happy, like to a certain extent, like recording every song, that he actually sounded like he was actually happy recording every single song on this album. Like you could tell he was having a wonderful time recording all the songs, like Don't Stop to Get Enough. Like you can, like I can tell, like I can literally see his face. Like if you guys watched the Michael film, you probably would have seen the scene with him recording Don't Stop to Get Enough. That scene is just miraculous. And I have continued listening to Off the Wall more and more over these last few months, and there's so many days where I came so close to actually ranking Off the Wall as my favorite Michael Jackson album, but it gets overtaken by one album every single time. And that is right here, the Bad album. Every single time, this album keeps going at #1 on me every single time, guys. I'm not playing. Like, Bad is always going to be S tier, and it's always going to be my favorite Michael Jackson album for a number of time, because the Bad album has so many songs on here that just like, it just feels like a mature album where for the first time in his life, he actually sounded like he was actually like maturing up from that little boyish person from the group, the Jackson 5, and finally breaking away from his brothers for the first time in his life. And he was starting to paint himself as like a mature, rough dude. Well, not rough, but like someone who's starting to mature up, starting to become more confident, and he can finally do things on his own without his family on his side to like, help him do stuff. And for the first time, he actually sounded like he was actually finding some confidence, and he could finally break away from everything for the first time in his life. Well, Off the Wall was technically like that as well, but Bad is the first time where he actually finally was gone from all of that drama in his past, especially from his father and his brothers. Now, the Bad album just has such a fun vibe to it. Like, I'm just so overwhelmed how miraculous the Bad album sounds. Like, there's so many miraculous songs on here, like Bad, The Way You Make Me Feel, Man in the Mirror, for crying out loud. Liberian Girl's another great song. Speed Demon, guys. I'm not kidding. When I do my song ranking list, Speed Demon's going to be really high. I'm not kidding. Dirty Diana as well. Smooth Criminal. How could you not deny that track? Like, come on, man. There's just too many freaking songs on this album that just fill my heart with so much joy, and I could never skip a single song on this album, like, ever. Now, the next album, surprisingly, I'm actually quite surprised where I'm actually going to rank this next album. It's Forever Michael. This one came out in 1975. So this was during his adolescent period when he was 16 years old. And you're actually going to be surprised where I'm actually going to rank this. Forever Michael is actually going to B tier. I was actually not expecting this. But recently I listened to the Forever Michael album, and at first when I listened to it, I was like, I'm probably going to be really bored listening to all these songs, really, because this was during his maturing age. But I listened to Forever Michael, and wow, I actually had a pretty good time listening to a lot of these songs. I really was not expecting myself to like the album as much as I was going to. And I mean, I understand there are probably some songs that people are going to find really boring. And also, the thing I don't like about this album is the lyrics on a lot of these songs. A lot of the lyrics on this album are really just so freaking cliche. Like, especially on the song We've Got Forever, like he was saying some really corny lyrics that only a 5-year-old would sing. But this was the mid 1970s. Times were different. So, but if I was 16 years old and I was singing those lyrics on an album like this, I would have been like, bro, what's the point? Like, I would never want to sing no freaking lyrics like that ever again. Like singing about sunshine and crap, that's just not for me. But in either way, I give the album maybe a B-. I was going to put this in C tier, but honestly, I just honestly really liked this album in general. And yeah. Now, the next album is, of course, what do you expect where I'm going to rank this? Boom. I don't, like, what else could I say? Like, Thriller. It's freaking Thriller, guys. Like, come on, what else do you want me to say? It's freaking Thriller. Like, there's not a single song on here. Like, just like all, like, the other two albums, Off the Wall and Bad, there's not a single song on this album where I'm just like, I really don't care about it too much. I mean, Dangerous as well is honestly too. But Thriller, there's not a single song on this album where you're ever going to feel like, maybe I need to re-listen to it again or something like that. Like, I guarantee if you're a first-time ever listener of Thriller, you're never going to get bored listening to any of the songs, like, in general. Like, I can tell between the songs of Thriller, Beat It, and Billie Jean, you're going to feel really worn out. Like, I'm telling you guys, you're going to feel really worn out once you're done listening to this album. You're going to be like, whoa, what did I just listen to? Like, Thriller, like, you just can't deny that Thriller is the greatest selling album of all time. And it's always going to earn that title. Like, I can already tell by the year, like, 2050, like, that album is never going to die. Like, it's never going to. Like, it's just that freaking good. Like, Thriller is just, Thriller. I'm just saying. All right, guys, now we're heading to the last album, and that's Music and Me. Music and Me, it was kind of straight, to be honest with you. It was pretty good. I mean, similar to Got to Be There, it kind of was like the first half of the album actually was kind of exciting. Well, I would say more towards the middle of the album was the best spot, where the songs from like All the Things You Are, Happy, and then what was that other song called? Too Young. Those three songs freaking made the album get some light into it. But once we got to the close to the end of the album started to slowly die off. But in general, the album was pretty fantastic. I loved his singing voice again, and it was kind of like a raw emotion at the same time. But honestly, I don't really have too much to say about Music and Me because, you know, I really haven't listened to the album as much as like all the other Kid albums, but I had a pretty good time listening to it. So yeah. Anyways, guys, yeah, that's my tier list, guys. I've ranked every single Michael Jackson album, guys. Now, guys, be honest with me. What is your opinion on this list, guys? I mean, I'm pretty sure that you guys are probably going to have a few disagreements of what I said. Probably not. But either ways, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed that, guys. Now, if you guys want to see my next video where I rank every single Michael Jackson music video, click the link in the description, guys, and you guys will see that video coming up soon, and I'll catch you guys in the next video soon. So peace out, y'all.